What is the biggest immediate risk that the world will have to face in 2026? No, it is not climate change, but something else. The Global Risks Report for 2026 is out, and in this session, we will see what are some biggest risks in front of the world, as well as in front of India also in particular. So let's talk about this report. And before we do that, let me tell you that we have this new course for you, which is the Studio GS Foundation live online course. This course is going to help you in your complete UPSC journey because your entire syllabus for both prelims and mains is going to be covered at a very affordable price of only rupees 24,999. And we have this course available to you in 3 different mediums: Hindi, English and Hinglish. So do not wait, the admissions are already open, and if you wish to avail a further discount on this fee, you can get that if you use my coupon code SALONI. Simply apply this coupon code in block letters only in the designated area and you will get the maximum discount. So for any more information related to this course, please call us at 87501 and all your queries will be resolved. And you can also download the Drishti learning app and enroll into this course. So do not wait. Now let us talk about the Global Risks Report. So the Global Risks Report is released by the World Economic Forum and it has released the report for 2026. And this report is the 21st edition of the World Economic Forum's report. Now, this report in particular talks about the different types of risks, short-term risk and long-term risks that the world will have to face in 2026. It's basically a survey in which the respondents are asked to categorize the different types of risks, assess the different types of risks in long-term, short-term, medium-term, what kind of an impact are these risks going to have. And based on the assessment of that survey, the result of that survey, this report is created. And then we are able to understand what are the biggest risks that the people feel that the world will have to face in 2026. Now, if we talk about the biggest risks to the world in 2026, the first and the foremost, the most important immediate risk that we'll have to face is the geoeconomic confrontation. Not geopolitical, but geoeconomic confrontation, which means the trade war, the tariff war, the sanctions that economies are placing on each other. This is what is meant by geoeconomic confrontation. And we know right now also India and US are in a trade war, US and China are in a trade war, and there are different types of sanctions that have also been imposed on Germany, on Japan, or Brazil. So there are so many things. There's a 50% tariff right now that US has imposed on India. It can also go up to 500% also as per the latest bill that has been passed by the US Congress. So all these things are happening. Major economies of the world, they are in this geoeconomic confrontation, and this, as per the respondents, is the biggest risk, the most immediate risk, the short-term risk that people will have to face, people of the world will have to face in 2026. Next is the state-based armed conflict. State-based armed conflict like the Russia-Ukraine war. Then Iran and Israel were also in a conflict some time back. There are also mass level protests happening in Iran at the moment. So all the state-based armed conflict is the second major risk that the world will have to face. Then we have extreme weather events or the climate change. So though you see climate change on a number 3 position over here, which means that immediately, right now, in short term, this is not the major risk that we'll have to face. However, this still remains one of the most important long-term risks. Climate emergency is still a long-term risk. And we have seen extreme weather events also in 2025, like there were floods in UAE, there was snowfall in Saudi Arabia. So extreme weather events are also being seen. 2025 was one of the hottest years of the world. So all these things are also happening. We see extreme weather conditions. So climate emergency still remains one of the biggest risks. However, it is not the most immediate short-term risk in front of the world at the moment. And then we have societal polarization and misinformation, disinformation. So the use of AI for all illegitimate purposes, different deep fakes, spreading misinformation, false information for propaganda and everything, this is also something that creates polarization in the society and something that the world needs to be careful of. So these are the 4 most important risks: geoeconomic confrontation, then state-based armed conflict, extreme weather events, misinformation and disinformation. Now we'll talk about the risks in front of India in particular. So when we talk about India, the biggest risk to India is cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is the biggest risk to India. We saw so many cases of digital arrest, digital fraud, cyber scams, deep fakes, personality rights being compromised. So many things happened. All this ghost pairing attack happened. So many things happened, and they basically tell us that cybersecurity is one of the most important concerns, one of the biggest risks for India, and we are overly dependent on the digital infrastructure also. We are dependent on UPI, we're dependent on all these different things that are driven by technology, and if anything goes wrong with our digital infrastructure, there are chances of devastating consequences. So India will have to work in the direction of strengthening its cyber security. Then we might also have to face a potential slowdown and external shocks. So potential slowdown can be there. We'll also have to face the consequences of the geoeconomic confrontation. Right now we are also under sanctions and tariffs. So there can be a potential slowdown. For example, the real GDP, though it is increasing, but if we talk about the nominal GDP over here, that is expected to grow at 8%. Which is one of the lowest in the past 5 years, excluding the pandemic year. So the nominal GDP is at one of the lowest right now. The real GDP, however, has been increasing, and the difference between the real and nominal, though it has also narrowed down. But all in all, if we talk about these potential shocks, then we might also have to face a slight slowdown in our economy. Then water security. Water security is another major concern. The critical infrastructure that we have is also another major concern. So, the Indus water treaties, they are in abeyance since the Pahalgam attack. Though India will not have to face severe consequences or a water crisis because of that suspension, but it strains our diplomatic tensions. And then there are also concerns with the Teesta water sharing agreement that we have with Bangladesh. So water security remains, one of the biggest problems that we'll have to face in India in 2026. And all this is going to lead to social inequality. It is going to deepen the social inequality in the society. People who have access to resources will make use of the resources. However, people who do not have access to those resources will have to struggle a lot. So social inequality is also going to deepen. So these are some major risks in front of India. We have cybersecurity, potential slowdowns and external shocks, and water security concerns. So the report basically tells us what are the things that we need to watch out for, and then in turn prepare accordingly. We have the entire year ahead of us. We know what are the biggest concerns in front of the world and as well as for India. So we can maybe work in that direction so that we can minimize the risks, the damage that are associated with it. We collaborate and not just keep on fighting these nations. They just don't keep on fighting with each other, imposing sanctions on each other. We start collaborating with each other and start building things together. So that is something that we need to be mindful of. But let's see what the future holds for us. Now let us practice a question for prelims. According to recent global risk assessments for 2026, which of the following has emerged as a top short-term global risk? A. Climate change. B. Nuclear war. C. Geoeconomic confrontation. Or D. Space militarization. Choose the correct option. It's a very straightforward question. Please attempt your answers and let us know in the comment section. Thank you for watching.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.